Hey everybody, welcome to the Face-to-Face Ministries podcast, the #1 resource for learning what it means to have a healed heart, connect more deeply with Jesus, and experience true and lasting transformation in your life. I'm one of your hosts, Cathy Little.
And I'm your other host, Melinda Wilson. Please hit subscribe so you don't miss the fresh content we're continuing to release. And while you're at it, we greatly appreciate your help in getting the word out by giving us a 5-star rating and leaving a quick review. You can also keep up with us by following our social media by searching face2faceministries.org on Facebook. That's no spaces, no numbers, and no caps. And on Instagram at face2facemin, and that's all one word.
We want to invite you to join us in our free Face-to-Face Heart Healing Network and in our premium network. Be part of a growing community of people just like you who are wanting to dive deeper into what it means to access the full benefits package of the cross and learning how to help others do the same.
Our team also offers one-on-one ministry sessions that can be done virtually, and you can also learn how to help others connect with Jesus and find healing in their lives through training we offer in the ministry model we use. And for more information about all of the resources, trainings, and events that we offer, visit face2faceministries.org. And while you're there, please sign up for our newsletter.
All right, so let's dive into today's episode. All right, welcome to episode 144. Do you know we're up to 225,000 downloads now, Melinda?
I know, and I look forward to when we're at 1 million.
I know.
We'll
it
have
could
to
happen.
do something really special.
Yeah. Well, we actually started this podcast with a specific goal in mind, and we accomplished that goal like 4 years ago, and we just kept going.
Yeah, well, we've had such great feedback, interesting feedback. And you know where we've had the most feedback, though, is not on social media. It is from people that we meet at trainings, at events, at our Dash Away weekends, saying, I found out about you through the podcast, or I was researching someone else and found that you had interviewed them and then heard what you do and heard about Immanuel Approach, et cetera, et cetera. And through that, we've had so many people connect with us, and it has been a real privilege and honor to meet those of you that we've met in person because you've heard about us on the podcast.
Yeah, we actually just returned from the United Kingdom. We did, I think you guys, if you've been listening, you know this is our 10-year anniversary of doing the Dash Away weekends for ladies, and we were invited back to the UK and had our first ever Dash Away in England. Most of them have been in Scotland, a few in Northern Ireland and Ireland, but it was a real treat to be able to go down into England, and we got to spend some time with folks that we've known just virtually and spend some good time with them and get to know them. And we actually had lunch in London the day before we flew back with a couple. The wife had come to the event, and her husband is a vicar there, and she's an inner healing prayer minister, and it was just so lovely to spend time with them and talk to them. And I will tell you that it was surprising to me to hear from them how much the podcast has impacted them. And, we just record this. It hasn't been professional. Y'all know that. I mean, we're not like super polished typically. And
well, what does that even mean? Though,
yeah, no,
Cathy?
but we have great contacts, and we've got some great interviews. And it's been a wonderful journey, and it was really encouraging to hear that from them that what we're doing is making a difference and an impact. So we're very honored to bring you content, and that first season was a really big deal. Those 61 episodes, building a project that we started out with that now is Streams of Healing book, but there's a lot of great value in that. But we've actually been hearing some people that are asking us to kind of share a little bit more about who we are and what we're doing. So we thought we'd give it a shot.
Well, and to get reflection from someone who has been listening from the very beginning. And he said, this is the gentleman in London who said he has listened more than once through the whole thing.
From the very beginning.
And he said, you two are experts. You're authorities in this field as well. It's not just us having conversation. And it was very humbling to hear that. And the exciting thing, though, is that we're not experts in all of the inner healing models, because I don't need to be or want to be, but we are experts in one particular model. And if you've listened to us for any length of time, you know that would be the Immanuel Approach. And I remember talking to Donna Da Silva, the founder of Bethel Sozo, and she said, of course Sozo's my favorite. I hope, as it should be, because if it wasn't, she shouldn't be leading and directing Sozo. And of course it's her favorite. And as Immanuel, although we didn't found it, of course, that's Dr. Carl Lehman, a psychiatrist, and Dr. Jim Wilder, a neurotheologian. But we have not only his stamp of approval, but his blessing to teach and train people in Immanuel Approach. And maybe we can really just look at, why are we even doing this podcast today?
Yeah.
We don't have a special guest. And then I can say, well, Kathy, you're the special guest.
Well, you're the special guest. Right. We're each other's guests. But we have something that has been, this has been a long time in the making, that we have been working on behind the scenes, and God has brought a couple of people into our world to help us do what we can't do, because honestly, we've done a lot of this just on our own, but we've gotten to the point where we really do need other people who have expertise in areas that can move us forward that we don't have. We do the best that we can, and we've done okay, but there's a lot more impact that we would love to have for the sake of the people whose lives are going to be transformed and changed by learning about the Immanuel Approach. So we're getting ready to launch something next week that's been a long time coming. We've had people ask for more training, deeper training, more advanced training, a clearer path to being proficient as an Immanuel Approach prayer minister. And we've had all these pieces a la carte, but we haven't really put them together in a meal before. And now we're able to do that. And we're starting with this 5-day event that happens next week.
And it's, many of you have seen, if you're on Facebook, if you're on any social media networks, even LinkedIn, I don't even know what they all are now. We're so behind the times with that. I am personally, but TikTok, whatever, are challenges. And that is a really powerful and effective, it's really, to be honest, a marketing tool, but it's a way to kind of do a taste and see, to here's what we have to, how we want to serve the world, and we want to give you a bunch of free goodies to help introduce you to whatever
what your
we have. And so a lot of people are using that model because it really engages with people and gives them an opportunity to learn what the heck you're doing.
Well,
and
it gives them a chance to get to know us better and to like us and trust us, hopefully, that we can help them become proficient in the Immanuel Approach tools.
And it's not our first one. We did a whole heart healing challenge about 4 years ago.
I think this is our third.
This is our third. And really, why is it called challenge? And that's really just about, I think, I don't even know why. I don't know the reason behind the person who called it that. But for me, I've asked myself that. Why is it called challenge? Because sometimes that can sound daunting, like, challenge, I don't want to be challenged. But maybe it is an invitation to look at something in a different perspective, or an invitation to learn something new that really is going to benefit you and others. And Cathy and I often talk about not trying to sell the shiny new object, but to actually share with you the powerful testimonies, the impact that this methodology, the Immanuel lifestyle, Immanuel Approach, has had on countless lives.
Yeah.
And we've seen so much fruit and testimony after testimony of people being healed of deep, deep wounding, deep, deep trauma. And we're so excited to introduce it to people. Even if you've heard of it, even if you've been trained in it, we'd encourage you to come to this challenge and invite people. We know so many people that I see so much trauma out there, and I don't know how to help people.
Yeah.
And this challenge, this 5-day free challenge, is going to start giving people some tools and introduce them to the Immanuel Approach. And we're going to do some amazing, just interactive stuff that is going to help you connect with Jesus too.
Yeah, you'll get to experience it personally. And each day there is actually a little bit of homework, some ways to engage with what you heard during the challenge. So maybe that's where the challenge is. The challenge is to do your homework.
Right.
But we have just pulled the trigger on it today as far as the email invitations are going out. The marketing is all starting. We didn't want to do it too far in advance just because people forget about it or whatever. But this is happening on October 2nd through the 6th. And it's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be live on Zoom. We're going to also live stream into our Facebook group, which is the Connect Others with Jesus Challenge group. But if you are interested in that at all, go to our website. Right on our homepage, the link is right at the top to sign up for this. And it really is a wonderful opportunity for us to widen the net and invite more people into the experiential encounter with Jesus. And we're also going to talk about ways that maybe you didn't even know that these tools could benefit you and how they can be used in a variety of settings. Because it doesn't all have to be sitting like one-to-one with like a client or something like that. There are so many ways that these tools are used, and they're very effective.
Yeah, let's make it more practical.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people are, internet healing, first of all, maybe they've never heard of it, or I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a pastor, but has nothing to do with it.
Right.
It's really about helping people connect with Jesus. That's why we're calling it this. But let's break it down to a lot simpler language. And the reason we're even talking about this, we don't want this to be just a lengthy infomercial, but we're so passionate. We've given our lives to this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you want to get to know me, if you want to get to know Cathy, then one of the first things you're going to hear out of our mouths is Immanuel Approach. So that's why the special guest today is to share this life-changing. It's a way of doing life.
Yeah.
It is a way of doing life. And so even if you're not a prayer minister, you think, well, I don't really want to sit across from someone and help them heal. That's fine. Totally fine. But do you want to have a skill or a tool in your hand that helps people come out of anxiety or fear, or helps people live in greater joy?
Yeah.
What does that even mean, to
Yeah.
live in greater joy? Mm-hmm. This is a lifestyle, and you can sit across from someone at Starbucks or your favorite coffee shop if you don't like Starbucks. I only say that. I don't even drink coffee, so please forgive me. Cafe Nero if you're living in the United Kingdom. But of being able to really hear God's voice in a clear way. And honestly, it could also be called How to Hear God's Voice 101, or How to Experience the Presence of Jesus.
I think it might be good, since we kind of are the guests that we're interviewing today, to talk very practically about why we're doing this. Like, Melinda, why do you care so much? Like, why do you care about this so much? What is it that burns in your heart about these tools, and what is your why?
My why is that I have been transformed by the living, interactive presence of Jesus. I've been healed. I've experienced what it means to have an ongoing 24/7 tangible interactive connection with Jesus that has changed my life, that I don't have to wonder if he's with me, or is he really hearing me, or are my prayers, why are they hitting a brass heavens, as people call that. It has nothing to do with that. It's about being. It's a way of being.
Yeah.
And I'm a very active person. I'm a go person. And this is learning a way of being with. It's a withness with Jesus. And so first of all, just my own healing over the years I've experienced by learning and experiencing secure attachment with Jesus. And then I've had the opportunity and privilege to really sit with thousands, that's an exaggeration, hundreds of people who then have also ministered
the ripple
to
effect
others, the ripple effect,
there, yeah.
But hundreds and hundreds of people that connect with Jesus and see profound healing. Just a simple thing of, oh my gosh, that's where Jesus was in this painful place. He was there, and it changes and transforms and morphs the memory. And now the sting of that is gone. It's the effects of that have been healed, and I've seen people change. I've seen my own self change. That's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah. And, there are so many beautiful, practical ways that this can become part of your daily life. And it really can, it's a practice. Like you practice this and learn how to walk in that connection. And even just this morning, I was experiencing some, lack of grace, because I think if you've been listening to the podcast this year, that I broke my wrist pretty badly back in February and had surgery to repair it. And now I'm having some carpal tunnel symptoms from the fracture after it healed, and then tendon issues. And so the bottom line is I have to have surgery to remove all the hardware and fix that carpal tunnel thing. And I have been really uneasy about it. I don't feel like I have the grace for it. But because this is part of my lifestyle, I decided this morning, I made the choice to establish that connection with Jesus, to intentionally sit in that place of gratitude, appreciation, and having him with me and interacting with him about the fact that I don't really have the grace to do this and be without my arm for however many more weeks and months it's going to take to heal from this. And I had that encounter with him, and I felt his assurance with me, because I had some stuff I was really concerned about, and I brought it to him, and he really assured me that I couldn't go wrong. It's like, it's not going to hurt anything if I do this. And it was helpful to me to have that assurance from him. And I didn't have you tell me, Melinda. You didn't like sit there and encourage me or tell me, don't worry about it or whatever. I got information from Jesus that helped me feel more peaceful about the fact that they're doing these two things instead of just one, and is the second really necessary, and yada, yada, yada. But that's just a practical thing for my own lives. And, if you're wanting direction for your business or direction for your life, or you want to have, if you just need some clarity to learn how to be in that transformational place of connection with Jesus and be able to see where he is and get his opinion, get his perspective, get his counsel, his peace in those situations.
And it goes deeper than if Cathy had just shared with me, I don't have grace, I'm really anxious, and will you pray for me? I could have and would have. Actually, though, my first response might have been, depending on her state of being, hey, so have you had an opportunity to connect with Jesus about this? And if she was like, no, I haven't, I might encourage her to try that. If she can't, that's okay. So I can sit with her and attune with her. But really, at the end of the day, when someone hears or experiences or perceives Jesus for themselves in their situation, it is absolutely, and this is proven, so much more profound and powerful than me saying, oh, it's going to be all right. Jesus is with, or quoting a verse to her, which I never would, because I'm going to say, hey, let's connect with the living word and see what he has to say. And I have an example too. It was just last year, my father is elderly. He's going to be 90 in December. And I travel out there about every 2 to 3 months. And sometimes it causes anxiety because I don't know how he's doing day to day necessarily. And I asked Jesus, I was in a different part of the country, so very many miles away, and I was feeling anxiety, and I just did some deep breathing, calmed myself down a little bit, and then was asking Jesus, what do you want me to know about this? And I saw a picture of, so clearly, because I've practiced this so much, so it was easy for me to connect with Jesus. That's the thing. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Yeah. And saw Jesus in my dad's dining room, standing right behind him with his hands on his shoulders. Now, that picture has stayed with me for the last year, ladies and gentlemen, because he was showing me. Someone else didn't tell me, because if someone else told me, that's fine. But then I'm imagining what that might be, which again is fine, but it has been proven brain science wise that it is absolutely more powerful and effective. Now I have a picture myself that he gave me. Same with what Cathy was saying. Mm-hmm. I really don't know what to do about this decision. So I get this connection with Jesus after getting to a place of appreciation and gratitude, which we're going to talk more about next week, and how that is so helpful for the brain to get into a place of relational connection, ability and availability for my brain to relationally connect. Jesus, I'm not sure what to do about this decision. And let me tell you guys, for so many years, I was terrified of being out of God's will. And I may have shared that in another thing, but if you haven't heard my testimony, I have many, countless. But I was so afraid of being out of God's will. And that's a whole other thing. Let me tell you, this lifestyle has changed how I see God and who I see God to be. And that's why I'm also passionate about this, Cathy, is because it has changed. It's given me so much more freedom in seeing God for who he is as he encounters me day to day. And he's like, girl, I can't even tell you how many times he said, girl, it's going to be all right, baby.
Yeah.
And like, it's no big deal. So I'm like, what do I do with this decision? So instead of like praying and like, I don't know what to do, and really almost feeling constipated, that desperation, instead of now it's like I get to just experience his witness and go, okay, Jesus, I'm not sure what to do about this. Let's talk about this, Jesus. What do you want me to know about this decision?
Yeah, I have watched Jesus work in the lives of those that I've sat across from and ministered to, helping them connect with Jesus. And some of them didn't know that they could connect like that. They didn't know it was possible to actually have an interactive back and forth conversation with Jesus. I've seen people surprised to see Jesus in the middle of things. They didn't even realize he was there. I have watched people be profoundly impacted by a word or a look or a touch or an embrace that occurs with Jesus there with them. And it doesn't have to be some major epic thing. Like I can watch something super simple literally change someone's life. And listen, we had 27 ladies in England at Dashaway, and that's a big number because, if our Dashaways are usually between 12 to 18, maybe 20. They're a little bigger lately because we're not doing them as often, so more people are coming. But this was our second largest event in England, and we had 27 ladies, and we had Juliet Alston with us, who is our prayer minister. She's traveled with us for many, many Dashaways, and she's a workhorse when she goes. I mean, she was meeting with ladies. We were doing 30-minute sessions. She met with 15 ladies, but we had 27, and so Melinda and I both also met with the attendees one-on-one, whoever wanted to, and we pretty much got almost all of them before it was all said and done. But just watching these ladies, and then I'm watching Jesus work in their life, and they are watching Jesus in their own memories, and they're listening to him and they're hearing from him. This is the thing that changes how you view God, because you're watching him do what he does. And when you do that, it's like Jesus said, come follow me. Watch what I'm doing, right? And we're learning from Jesus. We're learning the ways of Jesus. We're learning the heart of Jesus. We're learning the heart of the Father. Jesus is the exact representation of the Father. Jesus did not come to change God's mind about us. He came to change our mind about God. And so we have an opportunity to see God differently. Whereas if we were in the situation with the person, we might have a different opinion or perspective from our own humanity. But we're watching how God responds and how God is interacting with these people. And that's what Dr. Carl Lehman talks about, the mirror neurons, how we have that built into us, hardwired in us, for us to be able to watch and learn. And we can see someone else doing something, and it transforms us by watching. So my life has been changed simply by sitting in the facilitator seat, watching Jesus move in other people's lives. I mean, I remember was meeting with a client years ago who had a very, very traumatic past, a lot of trauma, and there was this major healing and integration that happened where this traumatized young one experienced Jesus in that trauma and was able to grow up and connect with the adult version of this person. And this person said, I've never felt more whole in my life. I didn't do that. God did that. Jesus did that. So every time I have the privilege to sit across from somebody in that facilitator seat and help them to connect with Jesus, and they experience radical transformation. I mean, we had ladies this week that said, my life is forever changed.
One thing that I've done in groups all over the country and other parts of the world, dozens, hundreds probably of times, and I'm going to do this next week, is leading a group Immanuel, leading group appreciation.
Well, we've actually done that on the podcast.
I have done it on the podcast, and many of you have done that dozens of times. And I'm telling you, do it again if you've done it. If you've never done it, do it now. But I'll be leading that next week, because Jesus is always talking to us. God is always talking. Are we listening? That's really the question here. And don't you think he'd have something fresh to say every time we asked? And one of my favorite questions to ask, because I've seen healing come in just a simple few minute exercise, is Jesus, once I help them connect with Jesus, what do you want me to know? Or how did you feel on the day I was born? And I love that question, because there's so many people that have shared that they had either some kind of traumatic birth, or their parents didn't want them, or that they were rejected from even in the womb. And yet now when they're born, they experience joy and delight in Jesus sharing how glad he is. Or I've heard this a few times, finally, they're here, she's here, he's here, and rejoicing and seeing the look of delight on his face, seeing the look of pure joy on his face when you were born. And this in and of itself, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, heals a multitude of wounds that have come from perhaps I wasn't wanted, my parents weren't ready, whatever the case may be, you felt rejected even from birth. And seeing that Jesus is happy to be with them, and how he is excited, giddy with glee, whatever the experience is that someone has, which I have encountered myself and others, and I've witnessed that of many, many people, will heal. And that is a 7 to 10 minute exercise. This is why, back to the circle, circling back, why I'm passionate. Yeah. If I wasn't seeing results and seeing fruit and people changed, I wouldn't do it. Why would you keep doing it?
It's fuel for me every time I see God do this in someone's life. I mean, it's fuel. It just throws more passion. It's just more and more passion. I also love to see when someone is encountering Jesus, and Jesus speaks something to them in a way that brings healing from this one thing, and then they start realizing, oh, he was there too, and oh, he was there too, and oh, he was there too, and he was there. It's like all these dominoes of chains that have been on these people. They don't even know that they're walking around with these chains. And then God like unhooks the first one, and it's like everything else is a house of cards. It begins to fall there's no more power in it, because they've experienced Jesus in a way, and they see him now in these other places. Like once they zero in and have that connection with him, experientially connecting, then all of a sudden it's like he was here, he was here, he was here, he was here, in all of these places that they never even considered that he might be. And then now these things no longer have power. And one of the interesting things I remember we were talking in a mentoring track. We were both being mentored directly by Dr. Carl Lehman, and lots of Q&A goes on, and we get to engage in sessions and watch him lead sessions. It's a very helpful environment. The mentoring is a very helpful environment, which is why we started doing mentoring tracks. One of the things that he was talking about is that he has never in his experience, in all of the clients he's seen, all the study he's done, all the decades he's been involved in this, he has never seen somebody experience Jesus in that painful memory somehow not ever see Jesus there again. It's like once Jesus is imprinted in that memory, they can't unsee him there. Like he is forever there. My own personal experience, I had some trauma when I was a kid, a teenager, like, the teen area, the tween area. And I had some heart healing ministry regarding that. And one of the things that we did was invite Jesus to be there and to just change the circumstances around that event. And Jesus completely rearranged everything. And so I can't even think about that particular memory without Jesus in there and seeing how he redecorated the whole thing and changed the memory for me, because he brought healing to that place of wounding. So this is worth it. We don't do this because it's not something that we're just doing for the heck of it. And it's not something that's super lucrative. It's not something that we're just doing. But, obviously we do have expenses, and this is our full-time gig. We don't have the time or capacity to, go work retail or something. This is our passion. This is our full-time gig. This is what we've given our lives to. And we're very, very happy to be able to put all of these things that we've been doing over the past 4 or so years into a very cohesive path to proficiency for facilitators. And just to be able to have all of these pieces in a concise manner. And we're so thankful. Shout out to Jill Wolf, who has been our strategist through all of this. And she's really earning her keep. We're so blessed by her and her help. And if you come to the challenge, she's going to you'll probably get to see her somewhere in there. But we're so thankful. And for Sandy Sadako, who's also someone who has just linked arms with us. We met her almost 2 years ago at a training, and she just dove in, and now she's a coach and she's a facilitator. You can get a session with her on our website, and these ladies have helped us. We needed the help, like we're like seriously needing the help. But we're happy. This is our pilot one. We're going to do many of these, but this is the first one. We would love for you to invite your friends, sign up, be part of it. You can watch the replay if you miss it. But this is going to be a very exciting shift for us. There's a lot more that we're rolling out over the next few months, and we think that we're finally getting positioned in a way to make what we have available more easily to more people, so that you can have more impact you can have more impact in the world around you, and your life personally can be more impacted by the living, tangible presence of Jesus. So on the homepage of our website, right at the top, you can click a button and get signed up for the Connect Others with Jesus Challenge. And it's going to be October 2 through 6 via Zoom, and also live streamed into our private Facebook group, which you are welcome to join us. We'd just love to have you there. And please invite your friends. Help us spread the word. We've spent a lot of time developing content for you and interviewing a lot of people, and sharing all of this. And I don't know if you guys know this, but this costs us to present.
Yeah, we don't make any money off this podcast.
Yeah, this is listener supported.
Yeah.
This is a listener supported endeavor. So if you would like to come alongside and partner with, there's information on how to give on the website. And we'd just love to have you be partnering with us so that we can continue getting the word out and helping people walk into greater freedom and healing.
Yeah, if you've enjoyed this podcast, if you've gleaned anything from it, gained anything from it, we would welcome and be extremely grateful for any kind of donation you want to make toward this contribution. It's really an investment because there's so many people listening to this, and we're not going to stop because we love it and we know and we keep hearing about the impact. But if you've been impacted or know someone that has and would like to help continue to spread the word, help keep this going, then we certainly would welcome your gift. And we also look forward to seeing you at the challenge.
Yes.
Please, as Cathy said, invite your friends. It's going to be from 3:00 Eastern for no more than an hour. In fact, it'll be shorter than that. And again, replays will be available. But we want to change the world. Yeah. And we need all of us to do this. We do. So come and join us.
Yep. All right. So thanks so much for listening. And we do have more guests coming. So.
We do. We do.
Right. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining us today. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share it with your friends.
And please stay tuned for more great content coming your way.